Now to the latest in the A$AP Rocky criminal trial as his former friend and accuser A$AP Relly takes the stand. Rocky faces 2 felony charges for allegedly firing a gun at Relly and has pleaded not guilty. His legal team says no crime was committed.
The rapper's longtime partner Rihanna also making an appearance in court there to support A$AP Rocky as Relly took the stand. Joining us now with the latest is ABC News contributor and attorney Brian Buckmire. So you know I'm going to ask you this. Do you think her presence there had any impact, especially when it comes to the jury?
No.
And he sips tea.
I mean, let's put it this way. You've got Rihanna. She's a big name in one way, shape, or form or another. Either as her name alone, being the partner of A$AP Rocky, or the fact that she is the mother of his children. I've seen, at least in some cases, not the high-profile cases, when you have the mother of the children in there, jurors do sometimes contemplate, hey, if I put this person in jail for X amount of years, what's that going to happen to the family? We also know during jury selection, at least one juror did contemplate that her presence may have an impact on the case. And I don't think it's coincidental, at least at this point, that she showed up specifically when the main complainant in the case was testifying. You can read the tea leaves how you want there, but it does seem to have some kind of impact as to why she was there.
And speaking of testifying, what do you think of Relly's testimony? What stood out to you?
So it's interesting. At least at this point, only the prosecution has the opportunity to ask him in questions. And the reason why I say that's maybe not the most important part is because that can be practiced, that can be rehearsed. Direct examination, at least in my opinion as a defense attorney, isn't really where the truth comes out. It's really in cross-examination. But at least in his direct, I thought some things were a little interesting. One, the fact that he goes right back to the scene after the shooting and that only he finds the shell casings. And when they show a video of what purports to be him going back after a while, he doesn't identify himself. He suggests that the person in the screen isn't him. So if he didn't go back to the scene to get the shell casings, then how did that all happen? That was a little bit perplexing to me.
And real quick, do you think we'll hear from A$AP Rocky?
So I go back and forth on that. The reason why I would probably say no is because the defense has already said that the prop gun that they're alleging that A$AP Rocky had on him, and the reason why it's not a guilty by deadly weapon, is not going to be brought into the case. And so in my mind, if A$AP Rocky takes the stand, if I'm a prosecutor, the first question I'm going to ask is, where's the gun? Show me the gun. And I think that's a very difficult question to answer if you're not going to provide it. So I think that might be a reason why he doesn't testify. Also, I don't think you really need his testimony in a case like this.
So A$AP Rocky he's going on his 3rd day on this. Is that a long time?
Not really.
Okay.
No. I mean, trials go on for weeks or months, but this is not a very complicated case. It's whether or not he had a deadly weapon, whether or not he assaulted an individual. I think this case will probably be done by late this week, probably more likely early next week, but that's not a long case at all.
Okay, I got to ask you about this other case, that I keep sending you messages about, which is Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively. Things, I mean, I'm not even going to call it messy. It's like beyond messy. It's like a hot mess at this point. First, Baldoni's team releases that raw footage from the movie, It Ends With Us. Then there's this voice message that he sent her where he's trying to smooth things over for the script changes that she wanted to make. There's a trial date that's been set for March 2026, but it's all happening right now. So what do we make of all this?
So a lot of moving parts. While we do have a trial date at least expected until early next year, we do know that, for example, a lot of this has been played out in the court of public opinion. But at least it appears at this point that Blake Lively wants to issue a gag order. We've heard statements from her attorneys as well as others suggesting that the way that Justin Baldoni is putting out this 2 a.m. apology call or videos on social media is tainting the jury. And so we've seen a court date get pushed up, and oftentimes when that happens, it's because the judge wants to resolve an issue sooner rather than later. So maybe we won't hear as much going forward.
And speaking of gag order, Brian, we got to get this in here. Regarding Lively's request for a gag order, Baldoni's team tells ABC News in part, quote, both Ms. Lively and Mr. Reynolds do not yet understand that there isn't one rule for them and one rule for everybody else. If they want to unethically gag the truth by threatening to wield their power in Hollywood, we will fight it every step of the way. Fascinating case here.
Absolutely.
And Eva, you are into this right here.
I mean, TikTok.
Everybody's talking about it.
To me. It's like, I can't stop watching it.
All right, Brian Buckmire. Brian, thank you. We appreciate it again.
My pleasure.